What's up, everybody? Chances are you are serious about starting a fashion label, and you probably have heard everything under the sun on how to start one. So today, I'm not gonna give you the tried and true, the whatever you've already heard. Today, I'm gonna tell you what's real, the truth behind every how to start a brand video or tip, but also reveal why there's never been a better time in the history of humankind to start a fashion brand, or any business for that matter. It is the time of the every person entrepreneur, and fashion is just one way to get your feet wet. That said, I'm Reggie Casual, and this is Unscripted. When Dr. Samuel Ross reached out to Virgil Abloh for a mentorship, the doctor wasn't cold calling. He had a cachet of work, displays, and contests they already had participated in, winning several, I might add, before he even attempted contacting someone who could help him achieve the heights he wanted to achieve. Now, why am I giving you the story about Dr. Samuel Ross? Because Samuel did it the right way. To be clear, his is not the only way, but certainly it was the right way. Why? Because Samuel Ross made sure he trusted in his work, his ability, talent, and most importantly, he wasn't afraid to share it. What Dr. Ross did was trust in the branding of him. He didn't show the clothes he came up with to Virgil, he showed his body of work. The brand of Ross was far more valuable than some clothing concept. Now, a few years ago, I made the episode on how to make a brand in 2020. And what I said then, it's called personal branding, one of the most useful tools of starting a business in today's world. Still applies today, but things have sped up drastically. Back then, we discussed all about personal branding, and lo and behold, YouTube, TikTok, and even good old Instagram added new ways for people to grow fast and showcase the what and why of who they are. And what used to take months or years now can take weeks to establish. And I don't have to prove that to you. You see the results all around you. Quite simply, the advent of short form content and specialized long form content like podcasts has changed the dynamic of how growth works. Now, these things have always been around, but now they're just huge. The point, putting yourself out there has never been easier, and finding your niche is as simple as digging in on what you do well. Like, what can you do and why do you do it? Whatever it is, show it and share it. Now, we haven't gotten to the fashion part, I get that, but you all know how to start, right? Like seriously, you all know how to start a fashion brand, how to make some designs, how to create a theme, getting a website, all that jazz. Some people even have given you legit ways to start up with very little upfront cost, like with $0, which is cool if you want to start a hobby label, but it's my thinking that those of you who are watching right now are kind of serious about this, which I hope you are, because that was the title of this very episode, for serious beginners. And if you're serious, you know that starting a bona fide creative endeavor like a fashion label takes massive effort, a whole lot of heartache, and some money. Still though, you know the key elements of starting that concept, that brand, whether that be on some simple print graphics or even cut and sew manufacturing. But what you may struggle with is marketing and networking. The brand part is easy. Why? Because many of you don't think you need marketing, or you think marketing is somehow fake and insincere because you don't like being marketed to. You're like, if someone doesn't like what I have done and I have to market to them, then they don't truly like it, right? Wrong. Just wrong. The sad reality is people need to be told what to like. And the best way for them to like something today in this world is if they like you, or more importantly, what you do. If people like you, they're more likely to support you. But if people like what you do, they're more likely to buy from you. See how that works? But a little note, when I did the How to Make a Brand in 2020 episode, someone mentioned in the comments, I'm paraphrasing, personal branding would work in streetwear, but in high fashion, it's all about the years and practice and craft that makes a designer well-respected and famous or whatever. Actually, with all due respect, no. Ask any trained designer, you'll find that they've all put in the years, all have spent in time in the office sweating on whether they're serge or single stitch. What made names like Yohji, Kawakubo, Gesquier, Michele, Dr. Ross, Jacquemus different was that their willingness to exert, network, and showcase their viewpoint. Kawakubo was a stylist for a fabric warehouse and studied art history. Yohji was gonna be a lawyer. Dr. Ross, again, reached out to Mr. Abloh after he had a body of work. Jacquemus was showcasing his designs in place he wasn't even supposed to be. So no, just because we put a shine over luxury fashion and try to give it more credence than populist fashion, i.e. streetwear, does not mean that the rules change. The rules stay the same, except there's a little bit of polish on luxury, as it should be. Because you can put in all the time in the world, become a phenomenal designer, but without a network, or at least know how to leverage a network, you're basically a legend in your own mind. That said, all the time it took for these aforementioned individuals to gain respect has been truncated today due to how we interact. Independent brands are growing, everyone wants something new, and the big labels are just giving the same perspective every year. But even they are trying to be more personal. Notice the influx of brand ambassadors for many of the top fashion brands in the world. Seems like every other day there's a new brand ambassador for another luxury label, but ironically, it's why fashion has become so boring and predictable. They have officially run out of ideas, and that's where you come in. So let's get to the nitty-gritty. Finally we get to the nitty-gritty. List, please. First, we have to establish your angle and intent. So what do you do and how can you segue that into a fashion brand? For instance, if you're a stylist and you consider yourself a good stylist, it's time to focus on that and showcase it. Showcase it with the intent of eventually gaining enough respect to start a fashion label off of that. Sounds simple, right? Not really, because you gotta commit and be consistent. That's easier said than done. Trust me, I know. Your angle, though, can be anything. It doesn't have to be style, but style is the easiest way to gain respect in both fashion and going into the process of building a fashion brand. Second, find your niche. Once you find your angle, now you gotta find your niche. What do you do different within your angle, and how will you present that? For example, I teach about the fashion industry rather than bloviate on what brands are hot. I also live in Japan, so I have that too. By finding your niche, you can own your angle. Even if others are doing it, your perspective is what matters. And finally, number 3, understand your intent. You're doing all this because you want to build a fashion label, so don't lose sight of the aim here. That means you will start the process of building a business, and a business requires patience, determination, and most importantly, an understanding that things may not go according to plan. And whether you're working by yourself or with someone else, you must communicate and understand that things will most certainly not be perfect. Things happen. Again, trust me, I know. That said, the close, right? Well, it's pretty simple. Research, solidify your customer profile, your USP, have a basic understanding of design, which can include everything from graphic to construction, understand what branding is and how to use it, and most importantly, understand your budget, because that's really important. But ultimately, understanding all of that and what to do is hard. It's ridiculous. It's time consuming. And I know most of you want it fast, but I'm here to tell you, if you want something fast and good, you're working in that unicorn territory. So right here, right now, we're gonna change that. We're gonna help you out. This year and beyond, here on The Casual, we will be going back to our bread and butter, dissecting the business of fashion in a relatively simple way so you can find your place in it. We'll be unpacking the best practices, the do's, the don'ts, the how-tos, the styling, understanding garments, and the process. We're even gonna spin our history series WTH and WTH Rise and Fall into a case study every month so you can understand how those before you took off and made huge successes, or failed miserably. From New Balance to Yves Saint Laurent to Shein, we're gonna cover it. And for those of you that still wanna see the country of Japan, you're like, yo, you in Japan, show me Japan. Don't worry, I got you covered. But instead of simply vlogging, we're gonna use Japan as a backdrop to learn more about inspiration, the importance of meticulous study, and other areas that you can pull from, as well as things that they do over here that you can apply to your own brand. But wait, there is more. This year, we're gonna be showcasing independent fashion projects from all of you and labels at the end of every month that are doing amazing work. We'll give them the rundown, tips to improve, and what they can do better, or just what they're doing well. That means even you can showcase right here on The Casual, and we'll be announcing where you can send in your good projects so we can give you some much needed exposure here in 2023 and beyond. And if you want a little bit more, if you want more, we have restarted our class series on Patreon where we go into detail about exactly what you need to do to start and have a relatively successful project, provided you do the work. We'll also be giving monthly webinars where I discuss these things in real time, complete with homework and everything, the whole process. So that's what's going on. And we have a few surprises that you might like as well. I won't reveal them now, but it'll be fun, trust. But yeah, how do you start a brand this year or any other year? Honestly, it's all about you. That's the start. Everything else is leveraging what you gain from you, networking that is, into a sustainable company. With that, If you have any topics that you want to discuss, any pressing topics you want to discuss, let it be known in the comments. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international fashion business from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And I will see you guys in a minute.